stop believing the lie that what happens at the office stays at the office. That mentality is exactly how thousands of marriages end every single year without a single physical line ever being crossed. You might think having a work wife or work husband is just a harmless coping mechanism for a stressful job, a way to survive the 9-to-5 grind with your sanity intact. But what if I told you that the intimacy you're building in the break room is actually more dangerous to your real relationship than a physical fling? By the time you realize you've crossed the line from colleague to emotional partner, it's often too late to turn back. You are about to discover the 7 subtle, often ignored signs that your work friendship has mutated into an emotional affair. You've probably heard that men and women can't be friends, or that platonic relationships are easy to maintain. But the modern workplace is a pressure cooker designed to bond people together, and today we are going to dismantle the excuses you've been telling yourself. If you recognize even one of these signs, you need to pay attention. If you recognize 3 or more, your real relationship is already in the danger zone. To understand how this happens, we have to look at the environment itself. We spend more waking hours with our colleagues than we do with our actual spouses or partners. You see these people at your best, when you're professionally dressed, mentally sharp, and solving problems. And you see them when you're vulnerable, stressed out by deadlines or a tyrannical boss. It is completely natural to form bonds. Humans are social creatures. We crave connection. But where is the line? The term work spouse has become a cute, socially acceptable label for a very specific type of codependency. It implies a level of intimacy that mimics a marriage, shared meals, inside jokes, relying on each other for emotional support, and knowing each other's coffee orders by heart. On the surface, it looks innocent because there is no sex, and that is the trap. Because there is no physical contact, you tell yourself it's not cheating. You tell yourself you're just friends. But emotional affairs are insidious because they don't start with a kiss. They start with a conversation that goes just a little too deep. This brings us to the first major sign that things have shifted: the unfair comparison. This is a psychological trap that happens almost without you noticing. At work, your work wife or work husband sees a curated version of you. You are productive, you are funny, and you are engaging. Conversely, you see the best version of them. They are helpful, they listen to your ideas, and they validate your professional struggles. Now, compare that to your life at home. At home, your partner sees you when you are exhausted. They see you in sweatpants, worrying about bills, dealing with sick kids, or arguing about whose turn it is to do the dishes. Real life is messy, gritty, and unglamorous. Work life, by comparison, can feel like a fantasy. When you start mentally comparing the ease of your relationship with your coworker to the effort required in your real marriage, you have entered dangerous territory. You start thinking, why can't my spouse be as understanding as Sarah? Or, why doesn't my husband listen to me the way Mike does? It's easy for Mike to listen to you. He doesn't have to share a mortgage with you. He doesn't have to negotiate holiday plans with your in-laws. When you start idealizing the work relationship because it lacks the friction of domestic life, you are engaging in a fantasy that devalues your real partner. You are giving the best of your energy to the coworker and leaving the scraps for the person you actually committed to. The second sign is much more tangible, and it's one that usually triggers the gut feeling that something is wrong. Secrecy and the art of omission. This isn't necessarily about lying to your partner's face. It's about what you don't say. It's the text message you delete, not because it was inappropriate, but because it's just easier than explaining it. It's mentioning that you went to lunch with the team when really it was just the two of you. Ask yourself this. If your partner walked into the room while you were talking to this colleague, would you change the subject? Would you change your tone of voice? If every interaction you have with this coworker were recorded and played back for your spouse, would you feel comfortable? If the answer is no, you are hiding something. Secrecy creates a wall between you and your partner, and a window between you and your coworker. Every time you omit a detail, you are reinforcing that wall. You are creating a private world that your partner is not allowed to enter. This leads to a profound shift in your priorities, which is our third sign: emotional primacy. Who is the first person you want to tell when something happens? Let's say you get a promotion, or you have a funny encounter on the subway, or you hear some crazy news. Who do you reach for first? If your instinct is to text your work spouse before your real spouse, that is a massive red flag. This is about the displacement of emotional energy. In a healthy relationship, your partner is your primary confidant. They are the anchor. When you shift that anchor to someone at the office, you are robbing your relationship of intimacy. You might think, well, my coworker understands the context of the job better. And while that might be true for technical work issues, it shouldn't apply to your emotional landscape. When you save your best stories, your deepest fears, and your real laughter for 9 to 5, you come home empty. You have nothing left to give. But wait, because we are approaching the most critical turning point. Just when you think you can manage these feelings, something happens that accelerates the process rapidly. The next sign is often the nail in the coffin for boundaries. Sign number 4 is the us against the world dynamic, specifically when you start venting about your relationship. This is the moment the friendship becomes a weapon against your marriage. It starts innocently. You had a fight with your spouse that morning. You get to work, you grab coffee with your work wife, and you sigh. She asks, "What's wrong?" You say, "Oh, he's just being unreasonable about the budget again." She sympathizes. She validates you. She says, "I don't know how you put up with that. You deserve better." Do you see what just happened? You have opened a door that should be locked. You invited a third party into your marriage. When you complain about your partner to someone you are emotionally attracted to, you are bonding over the failures of your spouse. You are building intimacy on the ruins of your partner's reputation. This creates a dangerous feedback loop. The coworker becomes the savior, the one who gets you, while your partner at home becomes the villain. It validates your resentment and makes you feel justified in pulling away from your marriage. Moving on to sign number 5, the technological tether. Work relationships used to stay at work. You clocked out, you went home, and you didn't see them until the next morning. But in our hyper-connected world, the work wife comes home with you in your pocket. Are you texting late at night? On weekends? Are you messaging on apps that aren't strictly for work, like Instagram or Snapchat? Or moving the conversation to WhatsApp to keep it off the company server? Be honest with yourself. Are you sending memes at 10 p.m. on a Saturday? Are you sharing songs? When your phone buzzes and you see their name, do you get a little hit of dopamine? If you are spending your family time glued to a screen communicating with your colleague, you are physically present but emotionally absent. You are stealing time. That time belongs to your family, to your hobbies, to your rest. Giving it to your work spouse is a declaration of where your heart actually wants to be. This brings us to sign number 6,
And this is where the physical element starts to bleed into the emotional one, the dressing up phenomenon. Now, looking presentable for work is normal, but pay attention to your motivation. Do you find yourself spending extra time on your hair or choosing an outfit specifically because you know they will be in the meeting today? Do you check the mirror right before you walk by their desk? This is about anticipation. It's about the desire to be seen and admired by that specific person. If they are absent that day, do you feel a sudden drop in mood? Does the office feel boring and gray without them? That disappointment is a sign of dependency.
You aren't just going to work to do a job anymore. You are going to work to get your emotional fix. You are craving their attention, and you are curating your appearance to ensure you get it. That is not platonic behavior. That is courtship. And finally, sign number 7, perhaps the most telling of all, the defensive reaction. How do you react when someone, especially your partner, questions the friendship? If your spouse says, "You seem to talk about Sarah a lot," or "Is Mark texting you again?" Do you explode? Do you immediately get angry and defensive? "We're just friends. You're being crazy. You're so jealous." If you find yourself gaslighting your partner to protect the work relationship, you are in deep trouble. Defensive anger is a biological response to being caught or feeling threatened. If the relationship were truly innocent, you would likely respond with reassurance or confusion. But if you attack your partner for noticing the connection, it's because on some level, you know they are right. You are guarding the source of your dopamine. You are protecting the fantasy from the harsh light of reality. So, we have covered the 7 signs: the unfair comparison, the secrecy, the emotional primacy, venting about your spouse, the technological tether, the desire to impress, and the defensive outrage. It is a heavy list. And if you are sitting there feeling a knot in your stomach because this sounds familiar, don't panic, but don't ignore it. An emotional affair is often harder to end than a physical one. A physical affair is a concrete betrayal. It's an event. An emotional affair is a state of mind. It's 1,000 tiny choices made over months or years. It's an addiction to the way someone makes you feel. Breaking it requires a radical shift in behavior. You have to acknowledge that the innocent friendship is actually a threat to your life outside of work. You have to establish hard boundaries. That might mean no more one-on-one lunches. It definitely means no more texting outside of work hours. It means stopping the personal vents about your marriage immediately. It means taking that energy you have been funneling into your coworker and reinvesting it back into your home, even if things at home are difficult right now. The grass isn't greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. And for the last few months, you might have been watering the wrong lawn. The work-wife dynamic feels safe because it's a fantasy. It has no bills, no chores, and nor history. But it's a hollow victory if it costs you the real, complex, beautiful life you've built with your partner. So, I want to turn this over to you. Relationships in the modern workplace are incredibly complex, and the lines are blurrier than ever. Have you ever had a work friendship that flexed like it was teetering on the edge? Or have you both on the other side, watching your partner get too close to a colleague? What was the moment you respeciallys had been crossed? I want to hear your stories and your perspective. Leave a comment down below, and let's start a real conversation about where Vordy threw the line. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the psychology of relationships. Thanks for watching.